to log on and see, we got, Tony, do we have you on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think Phil Lozier is gonna join us a little later. Caroline, we have you there?
Good morning, everyone. Sorry, you could probably hear from my voice. I'm not feeling so well today. I was really looking forward to joining y'all in person, but I do not want anyone else to catch this nasty bug. So next month, I will definitely be there in person.
Great, Caroline, hope you're feeling better. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Let's see, we have Mr. Williams. Is Nicole here?
Yeah. She said she'll be a few minutes late.
Yes, thank you. Okay. So important. All right, look at this one. This.
Seven, we're fine.
Wait.
One,
Two, staff.
That's one, two, three,
No.
Couple of bidders.
I think, let's see.
So I think we have, Curtis, are you there?
Five, Tony, six.
Hey, Ernest, how you doing?
Ernest.
Hey, good, Mr. Chair. Sorry I can't be there in person. I'm also getting over a cold. Good to see everyone there.
Six, seven, we're good.
Plus Caroline.
Plus Caroline is online.
Hey.
Yeah, yeah, maybe.
Okay, we'll give it just a second here before we get our receipt on that. Call to order. The action items, we have the minutes that were sent out in the packet by Alexi. Do we have any motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Do you have a second? No. Any addition? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Great, thank you. Chair report, things are looking pretty good. Obviously looking for a big vote on Monday. I had a preliminary, discussion last Monday. I think it's important that people that, both pro and con have their voice and they're able to speak up. I support, I think it was a really healthy discussion. And I just want to really appreciate the committee members that spoke up in favor of the equestrian center hotel complex. I think that, Brad and his team, along with CSU and WSSA in the city, have done a lot of outreach to the community. And so we really appreciate your support. So thank you very much. But it's important to hear all voices in this program. So, I thought that how you guys. Okay. And the other thing I had was, there was a $800 million bond issue that we maybe come around here next year. I'd like to have Steve talk about it a little bit. Steve was on the committee that's directing where the funds will go. And just a real quick overview in terms of, there was an article in the paper this morning. But Steve wants to kind of fill us in.
I'll defer to Patrick on most of it, and it was just a great experience to see the commitment of the city and the intellect and the integration of what they're doing there that directly impacts everything we do here. It was really an extraordinary experience, and Jill and Molly and some of the people, my goodness, and Paul Cash and everybody contributed a lot. It was a great inside look for me that I've never really had before about how do you spend the money and where does it come from, where does it go? And Patrick invited me to come on this subcommittee for connectivity, which the connectivity name of that one subcommittee I was on, for me, didn't relate to the main focus of the committee, which is bikeways, making streets safer, expanding the safety net around the city and how people cross the city every day. For me, it was a connectivity to these neighborhoods and to the National Western Center agenda. And it was just a great education. So I hope we have a committee every day now. Patrick.
Thank you.
Quick find on that.
Wonderful. Hello, everyone. My name is Patrick Riley. I'm the Vibrant Bond Program Manager for the Department of Finance. I'm going to go ahead and throw up the PowerPoint here. I'll give it to work. Let's see.
It looks vibrant.
Very colorful.
See if I can get it to play properly here. And I've got way too much stuff on the screen here, so.
That's right.
Let's go. There we go. So on was it February 12th, the mayor announced this fiber bond, process that we are now in the middle of. So we're gonna kind of go through the progress of the bond, and then I'm gonna talk about connectivity in particular, because not only was that our first subcommittee to wrap up, but I think it has the most ties directly to the campus here. So the bond as a whole, we're targeting 800 million across 6 years. So most of the bonds that we've done in the city going back to Elevate or Better Denver have been 10-year bonds. This proposed Vibrant Denver bond would be a 6-year investment. That would be for a number of reasons. The primary reason is to really make the investments get felt in a much more real way. When you do something over 10 years, it does take so much longer for people to feel the investments and the ideas that they gave, and have that get really seen on the ground in their neighborhoods. As part of this, we looked at where those levels of investment would be best spent around the city, what the community would really want to see. And we kind of came up with 5 central themes, which was parks, playgrounds, trees, trails, and climate, arts and cultural venues, the rec centers, libraries, housing, and other city facilities, connectivity, which Steve was so gracious as to help us with, which are streets, bikes, bridges, and pedestrian safety, and then safe and healthy neighborhoods. As part of this process, we went out into the community, we went to every single district. We ended up with almost 7,600 total touch points. So that's people visiting us in the community, that is people responding to online surveys, that's people going into our libraries or rec centers and filling out paper surveys, that is people just going online and giving us comments. That all led to project ideas. So that very left box there, we, through those surveys, through those comment forums, through just ideas that we took in those public forums, we intaked, or into, I guess is, I don't know how to properly say that. We ended up with thousands of project ideas. So we took those in. We ran them through a technical review committee of experts from different city departments to help put scope, schedule, and budget around them. We wanted to validate that all of these ideas were achievable within a 6-year time frame. Again, a lot can happen in 10 years. 6 years is a long period of time, but it's not as long as you might think it is. And we wanted to make sure that these were bond eligible projects. We then went into the subcommittee review, which is where we're finishing up this week, and we're moving into executive committee, which we just sat and we're really pushing into right now. So the 7,600 or just under 7,600 ideas led to 1,100 project ideas. We took about 440 of them and referred those off because they weren't bond eligible, but those ideas did not die. They went into the departments, and we wanted to make sure that the community was heard, even if they weren't bond eligible, that those ideas still had life to them. That led to 653 projects going into this process. Some of those were duplicative, some of those were able to be combined into corridors, some of those were able to be combined into citywide programs, things like dog parks or thematically pedestrian safety, things of that nature. We did a rolling process where there were 4 tranches that came through and went to the subcommittees, which are the tranche breakouts you see at the bottom. And this is how it broke out across those 5 subcommittees. You'll see that a couple of them had some pretty significant numbers of projects that hit there. Parks, playgrounds, rec centers, and facilities, and then the connectivity. So getting into connectivity in particular, our subcommittee members, not only was Steve so helpful for us, former NewCo member Brad Dotson, we also brought back to help out in this space, and your council member here for District 9, Darrell Watson, was also involved in the subcommittee. We asked them to evaluate, and all subcommittees evaluate off of the same criteria, which is community needs and benefit, community equity, environmental impacts, health, safety, and environmental impacts, and project readiness. We asked them to have a commitment to equity, a commitment to sustainability. All our meetings were held in public. There was a commitment to transparency. We asked all of our members to refrain from advocating or lobbying on specific projects or organizations. And we asked them to keep in mind that at the end of this, we have to present a balanced package that serves the city as a whole. Connectivity asked, as part of their package in particular, they decided that they should also consider the high entry network across the city. They should consider Denver Moves Transit and Denver Moves Bikes. And they should also consider the Nest neighborhood map as it relates to equity. They met for 2 hours a week, like champions on Monday morning. They considered them in the 4 tranches. We asked them to rank in the 3 tiers, 1, 2, and 3, high, medium, low. They did at points ask for projects to get combined into bigger projects. They asked for some projects to get split into others, and they did question some of the scope and asked for some projects to get reduced. All said and done, they considered 65 projects that totaled more than $3 billion. Kind of see the breakout of how that all worked out. So at the end, we ended up with 18 projects for $897 billion in tier 1 alone. Again, as they added in their additional criteria, you can see that it kind of played out that the Nest neighborhoods and the DME bikes and those criteria did help shape the end results. The tier 1 named projects, you can kind of take a general overview of what came out of here. What I would hope you take out of this is that you see that there's projects all over the city that land here. And there's projects that land both for like safety improvements and then major reconstructions. You'll see that there's that GES Connections Marion Underpass that probably means a lot to the people in this room. Jump to the next slide. Here's the part people in this room probably care about the most. These are the projects that impact this campus individually. I will also tell you that bottom bullet, this is the first time that anybody has seen this. This was ranked last night at about 6 p.m. So you'll see that the Plaza de Pueblo ended as a tier 1 and Marion Underpass ended as a tier 1. The 49th, the Brighton projects, which are the old DPS bus barn parcel, came out as a tier 2, which is still very much alive. I don't want anybody to look at tier 2 like that is lesser at all. That is still very much in consideration. And National Western Drive South came out as a tier 2. As someone with deep ties to this campus and the mission here, having spent years of my life on this campus as well, I think that this does go to show how much the mission here is resonating beyond just the people that are here. Like it resonated across that committee and it's resonated across multiple committees.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So, can you go back on the
Sure.
previous one? So this came out of the surveys, or how did you get to those?
The projects,
This
they
project.
came up in community meetings, yeah.
Okay, and the community here in US asked for this.
Projects, yes, so the projects, this was a completely community-driven conversation. Things like Marion Underpass, I know have been, even going back to the master plan, that's 2015, that connection from Washington all the way to Brighton Boulevard has been a connection that people have been asking for, I mean, 10 years at least. Kelly, you probably have heard that a lot longer than that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
What is a positive public?
So the Plaza de Pueblo was a ask out of the community probably the project on here I know the least about, but it is a community-driven project that they are asking for. I don't think it has a specific location. But it's a community plaza. It went to the park subcommittee. I think they envision it as community gardens and kind of like a third space.
This is the parkland piece.
Yeah.
I forget where, you remember where exactly where it is? Is this in the triangle?
I think it's triangle adjacent, but I do
Yeah,
not
it's
believe
not
it.
triangle.
Mike has raised his hand and probably.
Yeah,
has-
Mike probably is the most piece.
He knows the most.
Michael?
I have to promote it.
Michael, can you hear us?
How about now?
Yeah, Michael, can you hear me now? Go
Hey,
ahead.
appreciate. Yep. Just a quick follow up of the questions around Plaza del Pueblo. This is a concept that actually came out of the GES Coalition scenario planning efforts and will be an anchoring public space in Triangle. So we don't, to the points that were made, we don't know exactly where it's going to be yet because we need to go through the Triangle planning process. But by having it in this bond package, we will secure funding to be able to follow through and build and deliver this important new public space in Triangle once that planning process is complete.
All right, thanks, Michael.
So this is more like a group that asked for this, or was it the whole community? Because I'm asking because I haven't heard about that. And I don't think most of the community have heard about that. So was it just this group that won this, or?
So the way that the process worked is a single person or a registered group putting in a project, were given the exact same way. So a project getting into the process, there was no additional weight given for, you know, an organized group for a person putting in a project. The projects came in, they were vetted at that point in time and then ranked on the merit of the project alone.
Like the whole process included like sidewalks, like street lights and all of that, or it doesn't include in this, it's different?
No, I mean, the scope of each project in particular would be holistic. It would be everything that is needed to complete that project. So if, like, as an example, National Western Drive South would be everything in that streetscape.
Okay.
But I think what you're asking is sidewalks elsewhere in the community, not just.
Yeah, they've been talking about that long enough.
I mean, that's what I have heard more in this community, that we need sidewalks, we need streetlights, we need all, and I don't see any of that there.
So,
I mean, I understand that every
Sure.
project is very important,
Mhm.
but also I don't feel that that's community driven. If I'm just reading it right now, I don't feel like that's something that we want in the community. Which it doesn't mean that it's not important for the campus and for other projects and for other groups. But I'm talking more about our community, what people really want in this community.
sure, so two things. One, sidewalks as standalone because of the 307 ordinance, those are not bond eligible as a standalone project. If a sidewalk is a part of an entire streetscape and renovation, that would be eligible, but if it's just a sidewalk, that goes through the new sidewalk program. Secondary to that.
Sidewalk program a little bit, because maybe everybody isn't aware.
Sure, so a couple of years ago, there was a ballot initiative 307. And as part of that, the voters decided that they would like the city to take over sidewalk construction and effectively maintenance of the sidewalks at the expense of an additional property tax. That program has been stood up as of the beginning of this year. Those taxes are now being levied. They're in the process now of getting a program manager on board to do the master planning effort, and they will begin working through how their implementation is going to go. It's underneath Dottie. I would be lying if I told you I have a ton of insight into how or where that process is. So I don't want to go too far into where they're at in their process. I can speak very high level into what that program is, but not a lot of where that program is in process. And then for the sake of this project, or for the sake of this presentation rather, I tailored this for this board meeting just to the things that impact this campus. However, denvergov.org/vibrant bond, we have a dashboard up where you can see every one of those individual touch points, every one of those project ideas. These are not the only projects that we are evaluating. These are not the only projects that are in District 9 or in GES. There are other project ideas that are in these neighborhoods. I would encourage anybody who is interested in the things that sit outside the boundaries of this campus to go on there and take a look. On Monday, we're going to publish the tier list in full for all 5 committees and see what exactly has been proposed in your neighborhoods or in the city as a whole. So just because this is what I'm showing you for this room here, that is not holistic to what has been proposed or been evaluated for GES as a whole. That is just for the boundaries of the campus for this meeting today.
Steve, you got a comment?
I was gonna go to the same place, that I know you geared this up for this board and this campus, but we all also have projects in the neighborhood, and just wanted you to speak to some of those as well.
Yeah, there's a map on the website where you can literally pan in and focus and tag locations of projects and things like that. It's actually very, very cool. So I'd really encourage everyone here to go on and take a look at the list.
Yeah, the results of the surveys, you can click through, you can filter. It's very, very granular and interactive.
We asked Patrick to put this together for the last minute, so thank you. Patrick, just trying to show us going on. It's our kind of world here, and we're lucky given Patrick's experience with this National Western campus, and really his passion for it, to have him. Nice to important role. And thank you, Steve, also. Steve's been really positive in the entire process.
That's a good education. And I still think you're about the smartest kid that you're gonna be walking into, so that's kind of scary.
I don't get called kid very often. So thank you for that. I'm gonna take that as a victory as well.
Yeah, good job. Thank you.
Patrick,
Really appreciate
Mike was just texting me asking, and I think it's a good idea. Would it be possible for you or some representatives from the Bond Group to come to the CAC and present not just the campus project, but GES wide?
Would love to.
Yeah.
Any chance we can talk about this? We have gone, what has been my favorite part of this, you can elbow me if you want. My favorite part of this process is that the mayor, really let us go very, not even very. This has been community focused the entire way. Like, we did not go into this bond with, here is a list of projects we want, and then kind of fill in the gaps. This has been, go run the community process, go build this around the community's wants. And that's been my favorite part of this entire process, is that we didn't go in with any preconceived notions of what this could be. And that's been incredibly fun.
Great. Thanks again, Patrick.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for.
And I don't doubt that, Larry, but I'm asking, someone, like, if I'm here to represent the community, I just wanna do that, right? Another question is, how inclusive are all these projects? Like, people can use those spaces. Because I see a lot of projects going on in our community, they say that it's community driven and everything, and then it's like, no, you have to ask for permission, you have to be part of our group, you have to be able to use those spaces. So how is gonna be used?
So the bond program, in order to use bond funds, it has to serve a public purpose. Like, it's a hard requirement. So, it has to have a lifespan of 10+ years. It has to be on city-owned property, and it has to serve a public purpose. Like, those are hard requirements. If it doesn't meet those, it's not bond eligible. Doesn't mean that it couldn't be funded in a different way, but it can't be funded through this mechanism.
So even the underpass here on Marion, is that, can we just pass through there, or there's gonna be someone like say, no, you can't, because this is for the structure, this is for this is for that?
No, it has to be open, it has to be accessible.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, if you go back to the planning process we did for this campus that dates back to 2015. A significant part of that obviously was around, how do you reconnect what we called the donut hole? This was the donut hole that was disconnected from these neighborhoods. The Marion Underpass was one of many connection points that were essential, and Debbie Ortega and others. Our council were very specific, and we were engaged in a process to make sure that these connections would allow residents, with the exception of when we closed it down for the stock show, to be open and accessible to people for use. I mean, so this is very consistent with work that dates back now, going on 15 years.
Yeah, and I think Sandra, I think you're alluding to year round,
Yeah.
we have to close those gates just, because we have events. In Kelly's model, we are gonna have to close it for stock show. Okay, I just want everyone to know that. Public safety will be compromised if that road is not shut down from GES to Bragg
16 years.
for the 16 days of stock show. There will be an accident there if you do not do that. We will be lobbying for that. We'll ask for the permitting, and we have to do that for that. But outside of that, I don't see any reason why that connection can't be open 350 days the rest of the year.
And I think those are like things that the community needs to know. That is not, I'm not against it, it's just how we communicate with the community.
Right.
I need to be private, how it's gonna work. Because then we see a lot of projects, but we don't even know if we can use those spaces, if we can cross those spaces. Maybe it's that communication, and then it has to be very open to the community, so we can understand that we cannot cross during the structure, that we can use those spaces whenever we want. Even the Pueblo Plaza thing that I didn't even know about, how we're gonna use it. We see a lot of spaces, green spaces that they keep opening, but not everyone can use those spaces. So it's how we communicate to the community and how we really are accountable of the spaces and the, inclusivity of how we're gonna use those spaces.
Thank you, Sandra.
Thanks, Patrick.
Thanks again, thank you all.
Good to see you.
Thanks for the last minute, Patrick. Okay. Well, Patrick, leaves who's the smartest person in the room now.
Not me. Not me.
That's a heavy crown to wear.
Yeah.
Okay. CEO report, Brad?
Morning, everybody. We'll start with the facilities update. John mentioned Monday night be a big night. Go to the next slide.
Sorry, there's just a major delay.
Got it. We had our public hearing on Monday night, and final vote, final consideration and vote will be this Monday night, the 19th. There's a lot of work going on around commissioning the livestock center. I mean, this is like landing 777. They're on final approach from 150 miles away, and first notch of flaps are in and landing gear is down, and we are lined up with the runway and.
You're taking fire.
Yeah. We're taking fire, yeah. But things are solid and working well between Mike's team that's running the construction and the commissioning group and Campus Energy and Joe and his events team. And we now have got an additional building tour time every week so that we can, because we have a ton of folks coming in that need to see things for events. So it's a big part of the sales process right now. We are hot and heavy on sales for the building, so lots going on there. The battery energy storage system building, if you're coming in from the south, you're seeing it, a big new National Western Center sign there. Paul will talk about the Cup North parking structure in his update. We are on the 10-yard line, both the CSU O&M agreement and the Stock Show Campus Energy Agreement. Next slide, please. A lot of events happening. 25 is very different than 24, and it's fun, and, everything under the sun. This shot is this Lego event we had. I would love to know the number of Lego pieces that were in the Stockyards Event Center. I'm not kidding, it wouldn't surprise me if it was 1 million. I mean, it was just insane, and there are people out there who are obsessed with creating art and architecture with Legos. I mean, just mind blowing. We've had, it isn't up there in the past event, and we've got another one. Car show this weekend. This weekend, yeah. We had one a few weeks, 3 or 4 weeks ago too, and you know, these people that collect and swap carts and come from all over the place, and hundreds of thousands of these trading carts, and it's big business, and a lot of people show up. So kudos to the events team and that sales team. They're finding all these wildly different kinds of events. So it's exciting, and a ton of events. You can see the list there. So a graduation, some corporate retreats, just right across the board. I think we're hitting the mark here in terms of the different kinds of events we're holding. Next slide. Our around the community outreach topic, there's just a lot of exciting things, folks, and you know, lean into some of this stuff. It just is so cool. First Friday of every month, we're doing this We Don't Waste program. It's incredible. They come here and they're in and out in about 3 hours, and they're just hundreds of households, 737 households served, and then they have a WeWorks component that's all about infant care products and formula and diapers and all so we're really working hard on getting the word out to 80216 that this is here. They've been in some different spots. It takes a while for community to figure out, you know, how they sign up, how they schedule it, but it's a well-oiled machine, and it's working great. Continue to give out lots of tickets, over 500 tickets given out to community this year so far. CAC meetings monthly. Lori and a whole crew, all the events team, really been working on leveraging the CSU second Saturdays. And so what that's becoming is the people's market. And so this is on the riverfront, so it'll be second Saturday at CSU, and then the people's market along the riverfront. Just booths and farmers market kind of thing, and crafts and music and programs and services. It's really blowing up. The Denver Days topic, this has all really come together since our last board meeting. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Denver Days. It's something that the city does. And they do, across the city, they probably do 60 or 70 locations. Many of them are small, they could be as a block party. But then there's like 5 or 6 that are big, like key locations in the city. And they wanted to move it here and start having it, one of their major events here. There's going to be thousands of people on the riverfront. It's going to be just absolutely incredible. It's funded through the Silva Family Foundation. They are talking about, Lori's not on, but some number of thousands of backpacks. I think it's 4,000 backpacks with school supplies they'll be giving out at this event. So it's gonna be fun event. And we continue to sponsor. We do small sponsorships we try for a lot of events so far. 8 this year, over $8,000 in sponsorship dollars. The next slide is an event that was last weekend. This was the Mother's Day Mother Earth event. There were 3 different big neighborhood events going on, and I wasn't sure what kind of turnout we were gonna see. But it was good. I think we had 150 or 200 people that showed up, and there was a band. And yes, that is me. I stepped in and sat in on a couple of tunes on drums. So did Steve Nally. We don't have a picture of Steve Nally. He's better than me. And it was just a great event. It was a ton of fun. Marketing, Jenna, you wanna give an update there?
Absolutely. We have a lot happening on the marketing side as well. As I reported out last month, we officially went live with our brand awareness campaign as of a month ago. So we've been live for about 4 weeks now, and we are already seeing a major increase in our web traffic and social media following, which is super exciting. As you'll recall, we don't have a call to action associated with this brand campaign yet. We're just simply trying to get our logo out there and get some eyeballs on us. So this is out of people's pure curiosity and interest in wanting to know what's happening at the National Western Center, that they're visiting us on the web and on social media. As you can see, we did a quick analytics report, and just within the last 4 weeks, we're up about 141% in web traffic, which is wild to think about. We have all of our billboards up right now. We have 4 different locations as part of Flight 1. Those are kind of hard to see on this map, but they're the blue dots that you see. Here are kind of some examples. The one on the right is the billboard at I-25 in Colorado. And then we have a bunch of stuff down in McGregor Square as well. So if you guys are heading down to the Rockies, I would really encourage you to stop by McGregor Square and see some of our stuff there. It's super exciting. Just as a reminder, this is kind of a look at what our artwork is looking like and some of the messaging that we're putting out there. We're really still in phase 1 of the campaign, which is on the far left. It's mostly, like I said, just introducing people to our brand and our logo. And then as we progress through the campaign, it's really going to be more focused around what you can do here and experience here. And also, of course, including our partners in that messaging, indicating to people that it's the Forever Home of Stock Show and partner CSU Spur.
Just updates on sort of the operations and staffing pieces and parts, which you'll be hearing about in the executive session and voting an open session today on our pouring rights procurement, our landscaping procurement, and we're in a whole process of purchasing FF&E, fixtures, furnishings, and equipment is what that stands for the LDC. So that is 1 million objects. It's incredible. And these are the stools that sit around there's a bar rail at the top, the back of all the seats that runs all the way around the arena space. So we're gonna approve that purchase today because it's beyond my authority. And Jessica mentioned this, and she's been all over to all the committees and community events asking for, we scramble every time we have a procurement to get a community member to sit on our selection committee. That's a super important priority for us. And so we decided, let's put a call out. So we have a list, sort of an on-call group that we can offer to. We've done that. So far, we've had 9 folks say they would like to be involved. So we appreciate that support. On the staffing side of things, Brandon Garcia, he is not, when does he start?
He'll be in the next board meeting. It starts on the 27th.
Our manager of security and parking will navigate and manage all things security and parking. Amanda Bias is with us today. She is our new director of sales and ticketing. Amanda, you want to stay and say hello and give your story?
Good morning, everyone. It's nice to meet you all. I'm thrilled to be here. So I started my career with Hyatt Hotels, kind of on the hotel side, many years ago. First in San Antonio and then moving to Denver. And then I've spent the last 12 years with Visit Denver, starting on actually the destination services team, which kind of takes over everything after sales has booked the event. And then I spent the last 10 years on our sales team there, primarily working with large groups that book the Colorado Convention Center. So I'm just thrilled to be here on my farewell tour of Visit Denver. Everyone had very nice things to say about the campus and is excited about everything that's happening here, so. Thank you.
Thrilled to have Amanda aboard, and Visit Denver is such a huge partner of ours. I mean, there's such a great collaboration there with their whole team. Richard Sharp is a huge supporter, and it's a great partnership. They throw us a lot of events. It's It's fantastic.
Oh, there's Richard been there. You look at the institution.
Yeah, like more than 30, I think 35 years.
35 years.
Yeah, maybe more.
And then exciting news, everybody, we're changing passwords on your National Western Center email. And we are pretty sure that this is gonna be harder than getting 7 votes at city council. So.
That was that threatening the email from Alexia, I couldn't serve that.
So,
Warning, Red.
there's all kinds of support. It shouldn't be hard, but if you have any struggles, we have all kinds of support. Omar is available, our folks at IT on call at Envision, they'll get on a phone call with you in 5 minutes and walk you through it. It'll take you 90 seconds once you know how to do it, so. But just, we need to have a regimen for changing passwords. Otherwise, they never change, and all it takes is one to get into the board, and we would be compromised. That is my report, Mr. Chair.
Great, thanks, Brett. Any questions, Brett? So the deadline for the passwords is July something? What was the last, July 15th?
The next board meeting.
Next board meeting, okay. And if you don't have anything change, you're not allowed to come to the door.
Exactly. No breakfast.
No bread, no salmon.
No breakfast.
Right. Okay, the partner reports, the city and county of Denver, the construction update was inside the board packet. Mike's here to answer any questions anybody might have. I like to want to hit this.
Just, we are in lockstep with the authority, working towards a successful vote Monday night. And continuing our preparation for triangle planning kickoff later this summer.
Okay, thanks, Mike. See your update, Mr. Johnson, the update was provided in the board packet and highlights something.
I would just note, I think many of you got another email with an invitation to Ramley, which is President Parsons' event on May 30th. That Saturday at Spur. So if you can come and join us, it's a great celebration and to connect with the CSU community regardless. So you'll come and join us.
Who coined Ramley?
No.
That's great. I'm not quite there with it. So.
Same
I want to make sure what you are Tony Frank, I know what. I will be there, I'm not a marketing guy.
Neither Tony nor me, it was, but I don't.
I'm sure it resonates with everybody else.
Yeah, it does.
The same guy that created Sneagraph.
Yeah. What's the one you all about what's the one that you have? Something about Halloween or, I don't know. I'm not a marketing guy, so don't take.
Come to the event regardless of how you feel about its name, it'll be.
I will be there. Probably have a rambling shirt on or something. Thanks, Jocelyn. The stock show update, Paul?
Yeah, so a few things today. We won't go to, well, let's do that first. How about we do that first? Perfect. No, that's good. All right, so as I think most of the board knows, we have partnered with CSU and we are, and other partners, we partnered with the Livestock Exchange Building Partners and the authority on constructing a parking garage over by the Livestock Exchange Building, kind of between that building and the Cup North area. And I want to make sure everybody recalls that the authority put an RFP out about a year and a half ago. Is that right, Steve? And we were hoping that someone would respond to that and no one did. So, we contacted, Jocelyn and Tony and asked if, they would be interested in being a partner on this. And really, we're the two equity partners here. And so we are trying to put the pieces together to move forward with this parking structure, which frankly is not for the National Western Stock Show or specifically CSU. It is for the benefit of the entirety of this campus. There is 400 parking spaces in here. And, you know, my staff and CSU staff will be there during the day, but this is largely going to be needed for Brad and the authority driving events across the Livestock Center. So anyway, this is a quick, just concept drawing of something that it might look like this as concept drawings go. That's a screen that has the horses on it, just so you all know. And that's kind of a wind screen is what they've described it to me as, but this structure will be one that both can help the legacy building. It can help the livestock exchange building because they're trying to put restaurants in there, have other critical mass during the day for people that are leasing from them. And the authority as well as CSU. So we're all kind of in the boat together, rowing towards this and trying to put the pieces together to move forward with that. We are hoping construction would start by February 1st. And if that becomes a reality, then that structure would be up and completed by the 2027 stock show. So right after the 26 stock show, we want to be in the ground. And it's a prefab building, so they build it mostly off-site and bring it in. And so we're confident that that timeline can be hit if we can just hit this upfront part that we're trying to get through now. Okay? So any questions about any of that from any of the board members?
Any questions for Paul? This is a big building in our campus, like Paul said. Parking garages are always they don't pay for themselves per se, so it's always hard to figure out how the combination works, so. But I like the windscreen, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that whether that ends up with horses on it or, you know, it probably makes sense to put horses on it with the equestrian center that would be bordering it, you know, just a little bit to its west, I suppose, and a little bit to the north, but you know, livestock people, the one thing stock show president knows, and I'm no longer that, but I am the consultant of that person, is if you go too heavy one way, you get abuse from the other side. So the livestock guys would look at that and go, why is there only horses? So anyway, we'll have to think through that, but.
It needs to be around it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, something like that. Horses, you know, horses and cattle. Yeah, we could go all logos every time too. So anyway, that's parking garage. The rest of the stuff, WSSA, we're preparing for the annual meeting of the members that occurs May 22nd. So that's where all our officers get elected. And so that is heavy on our minds because that's next week. I am transitioning Wes Allison into the position of president and CEO. He's on day 8, I think. So I have definitely filled his mind with a lot of information that he's retaining as much as he can right now, but it's hard because there's a lot when you're talking about both the Nation Western Stock Show and then events up on the hill. So he's doing great though early on here, and I'll bring him along with probably the next meeting or two with Doug. We will bring him so he can witness this, and we'll usher him in here over time. We just don't know how long it will take us to bring him into the authority board position. And then I'm just a free consultant for everyone. You guys call me anytime. That's fun.
Anything you want.
Anything you want. Have fun? Yeah. Let's see, obviously we're following the equine center vote with Brad and Michael and the group, and we'll be at city council on Monday night for hopefully a successful passage of that.
Monday afternoon, by the way.
Oh, is it afternoon? Good, that's better.
Well, it will likely be night before we're done, but it's usually start at 3:30.
3:30, excellent, I'll be there on time. And then the one thing to note on the complex grounds, because especially we were talking about the connectivity, Sandra to Lowville area, Swansea here, for the last number of years, and the number could be many years, maybe more than 50. There has not been a way to get from basically the horse facility or even the commuter rail line stop over to where Brad is holding events here. So as of now, that passageway is done. So when Brad has events over here with the National Western Center Authority, we will no longer have to close our gates and not let people walk through. You can't drive a car through there. But there's been a fence line constructed that will go from the corner of our horse facility, which is the event center, all the way to the Marion Underpass and allow people to pass through. So if they're coming on the train to, let's say, a music festival this summer that the authority is hosting, people will be able to exit the train, not have to walk 100 miles to get in, just around one building, which is the current horse facility that we have, the event center, and then down the Marion Underpass and right into the summit. So I think that's a huge development. I know Michael and his team had a lot to do with that, and so we are very pleased that really can connect the community that's coming to events here to the site in a kind of a seamless way and keep everybody safe at the same time, so. I just wanna make sure you do right now. Okay. All right, any questions about any of that? That's my deep dive, not too deep, but just deep enough to keep you at all engaged for 4 minutes.
Well, I just want to say from CSU, thank you for that work as well, and to Mike, so that we have some classrooms and students and things like that, but also would use that, and so it's great.
Yeah, that
to
makes
have
sense,
a safe way for them to get over to us, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, that's good. It all worked out, I think, so.
It's gonna be so helpful to us.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Three updates, we'll start with, Caroline. Caroline, you okay to talk or?
Hey, yeah, I'm gonna keep it short today. Just a reminder for next week's event, Tortillas for Tepeyac. That's on Wednesday, May 21st at 10 a.m. If you don't have tickets yet and would like to attend, just reach out to me or to Lori and we will get you set. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Caroline. We'll see you next month. Take care of yourself.
Thank
Barbara?
you.
Nothing to report.
Nothing to report. Any questions for Caroline or Sandra? Great, thank you very much. Committee reports. Not a lot of meetings this month, were there? Huh. So I guess finance, we decided to go ahead and postpone the finance committee meeting this month, but I guess, do you have anything you want to say?
Just that the financial outlook through the end of April still looks really strong for the authority. We posted about $3.7 million in revenue for operating revenue, which is 73% of our budget. The events revenue, is up to $802,000. That's a $124,000 addition month over month. And with our operating expenses at 31% or $2 million of the $5.1 million, we're at net operating revenue of 1.7 for the year to date, and adding in district energy and equestrian center, that brings us down to 1.2 through the month of April. We're continuing just to work on the budget, fine tuning. We're working with a longstanding industry consultant to kind of test and vet through and fine tune our revenue assumptions for next year, given the addition of the livestock center. And yeah, there's gonna be a few puts and ticks on the 2025 budget, but as of right now, barring any unforeseen, dips or slides, we intend to be pretty close to plan for the year of 2025.
Any questions for Missy? Thanks, Missy. Campus services, you guys got any updates? Need to go. Any updates, Jessica?
We did not have a quorum
Okay.
this month, but we'll be going over all the same things here shortly.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. The committee benefits, Ernest, any updates?
No updates, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, the public comment. Do we have anybody on the line who would like to speak?
No, we don't.
We do not. Okay. Public comment is closed. Do I have a motion to move into executive session?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second. First and second.
First and second. Mark?
Thank you. Pursuant to section 24-6-402 sub 4 B and E, the Board of Directors of the National Western Center Authority is convening an executive session to confer with counsel on for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions, to determine positions relative to procurement matters, which Ms. Koenig is going to talk about, and negotiation strategy with real estate issues, which Mr. Nally will discuss, among other discussions. Because this is a procurement discussion and negotiation structure, and because counsel will be providing advice, everything must be kept confidential. This is really important, especially when it comes to procurement matters, and to preserve the attorney-client privilege. The board will not and cannot adopt any policy, position, resolution, rule, regulation, or formal action. The session is being recorded, and the recording will be maintained in the books and records of the National Western Center Authority. By law, we're required to give these statements and to record the session. So with that, Mr. Chair, you can call for a vote.
Great. First and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, we are now in executive session. Do you want to lock people in? Out of executive session. Okay.
I
But
got
you
my
need to
staff
read-
coming back in so that they can give us.
Can you still read?
You need to read, right?
The
Your
motion.
normal
Right.
stuff.
Does the staff have any clue what this motion includes?
Some of
Not sure they do.
my leadership does.
So why don't we do it now?
Yeah.
Yeah, they,
So the Board of Directors of the National Western Center Authority has met an executive session concerning a human resources issue. There is a motion that is proposed, which I will read, which will then need to be passed by the board. And that is a motion by the Board of Directors of the National Western Center Authority to authorize the chairman of the board to effectuate the personnel matters discussed confidentially within executive session. That's the motion. Do we have someone to make the motion?
So moved.
Is that Dr. Frank?
A second.
Yes. Second.
Any comments, questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Great, thank you.
I will note that Mr. Jones is not present. He's the only director that has not been within executive session or online right now.
Have you already started work over there?
Okay. Kind of,
The, not till June.
okay, so we talked about the other approval in the procurements. Who is that? Who was officially done?
That was.
Lexi is just coming back.
Well,
She wasn't planning on it. Do we need her?
Oh, you can make motions.
Yeah. So we have, 3 motions about the procurements, in order there, this. On your agenda, motion to approve landscaping agreement, motion to approve pouring rights agreement, motion to approve the house fish quote for the stools. This is, Mr. Chair, that somebody could actually motion for all 3 of those simultaneously if one director chose to do so.
Standing, how about we motion approval of all 3?
Second. Second. Comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motions has been approved to all 3 vendors. Anything else for this meeting? Painful close, wasn't it? Mike, what was Winston Churchill's comment about Derek? That we always do the right thing, going after exhausting every other option. Like that during the meeting. Okay, anything else for this meeting? Motion adjourned.
Thank you. For the support from all of those.
Thank you.
Okay, Nicole, shepherd everything home.
Wow.